Balding can destroy a man's chances in the dating market, even if he was successful in the past. 71. Although it is still possible to be attractive if you're bald, the black pill teaches that less than 5% of men can pull off the bald look, and those people would usually need to...
What up, what up, what up? This is your boy Agree to Disagree, coming at you with another video review. So previously I did a video review called 100 Black Pill Beliefs in one video. Now I did not expect to get as far as I did in the video, but it was some pretty crazy stuff. So I wasn't able to finish the video, so I decided, let's do part 2. Let's finish the video and go through the rest of the 100. I think we made it all the way up to 58. And again, for those who don't know what black pill is, it is basically some harsh realities of how men are viewed by society, mainly by women. And it's typically superficial stuff, which I kind of, I agree. We live in a superficial society, and that's how we are judged on. But I think with black pill, they kind of take it a little bit to the extreme, where it almost seems like none of that other stuff matters. But it's some pretty wild stuff they have in this video. The video is made by Waffles. And so let's go ahead and let's get to it, and hopefully it's as entertaining as the last one was. So let's check it out.
Terrible, terrible advice. 59. The number of men excluded from the dating market is increasing year after year, and this is mainly because of rejections based on looks. 60. The attractiveness of your face is determined by your facial bone structure and is almost entirely genetic. 61. The importance of facial features goes eyes first, then jaw, then hair, then midface. However, 62, it is better to score averagely in everything rather than having 1 or 2 fantastic features along with 1 outstandingly bad feature. For these 2 guys, the man on the left
Bro, where is he getting these photos from, bro? This dude basically says, bro, you handsome from the nose down. But I am curious to know, like, where is he? I would like to know, where is he getting these facts? Now, I do agree that majority, or what's typically masculine traits as far as looks, are usually considered attractive, like a strong jawline. That's typically seen as attractive in men. When if we saw like strong jawline on women, or like a square chin, we wouldn't see that as attractive. So I can kind of see where he's coming from with some of these things. But a lot of these things is like, it's real iffy. Like, how do you decide like attractive eyes versus not attractive eyes? Now I will say probably like eyebrows, like typically like dark eyebrows. So I'm real curious to see how he ranks some of this stuff. I mean, the baldness there, like, everybody would love to have like a perfect head of hair, you know what I'm saying, no matter what race you are. I wish I had a perfect hairline, but yeah, so I kind of agree with some of the things he's talking about.
Is more attractive than the man on the right because he has much better consistency, and this is despite having a lower overall score. 63. Surgery may be one of the only potential solutions for men with unattractive features. 64. Height.
Hold on, I got to stop it again. All right, so this is where I feel like this is where the black pill stuff gets really fucking toxic, because to think like your only recourse is surgery to make yourself attractive to women is complete and utter bullshit. There's one, we don't talk about it, but personality matters. If you come off as a masculine man, someone who is assertive, someone who is a leader, someone who is intelligent, all that is going to add to your overall attractiveness. I mean, you see plenty of dudes who don't look like, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody, and they're still able to get very attractive women because they carry themselves in a certain manner, you know. And there's also other things that go along with that. You know what I mean? They might have a really good job, or you know what I mean. They might be really really funny, or you know what I mean. There's they usually have some accomplishments to go along with that to make them attractive to the opposite gender. But to say that you have to have surgery to make yourself attractive, you know, if you're one of these unattractive people, like that's your only recourse of action, that shit is complete bullshit. Don't believe that. Let's continue.
64. Height is an attractive trait as it is seen as a display of dominance. 65. The ideal height for men falls between the 6'2 to 6'4 range. However, men who are 6 foot are also in a good spot and don't have anything to worry about. 66. Every inch you have lower than 6 foot is seen as a small blow to your overall attractiveness. This is the danger zone. Meanwhile, 67. Heights 5'7"
Women
and below
really care
are in
about
the
height.
no-go zone.
They
Persistent
really do.
rejections will occur solely
So I
because
agree
of
with
height.
this.
And this is true even with an attractive face. 68. On the other side of the spectrum, heights taller than 6'4" are still good but have a few negatives going for them. Namely, it can increase the likelihood of falling into a niche market, also the likelihood of having an elongated horse face or a lanky body and frame will increase. Therefore, the ideal remains at 6'2 to 6'4". That
Where the bro
said,
get
those
these
who are
pictures
6'5" and
from?
above are still better off than the average heighters of 5'9 to 5'11". 70. Balding can destroy a man's chances in the dating market, even if he was successful in the past. 71. Although it's still possible to be attractive if you're bald, the black pill teaches that less than 5% of men can pull off the bald look. And
Oh,
those
less than-
people would
come on.
usually need to be attractive to begin with anyway. 72. Balding will give the appearance of being 10 years older than your true age.
Ouch.
73. Men reach their attractiveness peak between the ages of 20 and 28. 74. Men younger than the age of 20 may not have a fully developed face yet, therefore they're not as attractive. Meanwhile, 75. Men older than the age of 28 will increasingly face issues caused by aging, such as balding, skin degradation, wrinkling, and so on. 76. This process of aging will likely start off slow, but accelerate rapidly into a man's mid-30s.
You know, for the age thing, I mean, I think that's, you know, not just for men but for women as well. I do think men have a little bit of leeway as far as looks depreciating with their age. I think men can go on to about like 30, 35. You know what I mean? Like I hear like women talk about like, you know, they like a man with a little bit of gray in their hair, or you know, you looked a little bit, you know, distinguished, and you know, it depends on, you know, on different things, but some guys can really, you know, they can pull off that older look. I mean, I think if you keep yourself in shape, you can still do that. But like if you're a guy who's like, you know, you're hitting your 30s, you're starting to put on a little weight, sometimes that weight can add to your attractiveness, because you know, women like guys who are a little stocky, you know, but it you know, they don't want you to have a beer gut or nothing like that. But if, you know, it depends on, you know, how you might carry your weight. And you know, for men, we got a little bit of leeway. Plus, like once we hit our 30s, you know, typically we're making more money. You know, we're a little bit more mature, so I think that adds to the man's attractiveness. You know, between 30 and 35, it's like a really short window, and then 35 hit, and then you're just an old guy.
Mid-30s. 77. Women reach their peak of attractiveness between the ages of 18 to 24. 78. The peak of attractiveness for women is narrower than men's because aging affects women faster.
Agreed.
And this is due to women's smaller fertility window. As you can see from the chart on the right, men's decline in fertility is much more gradual. 79. The ideal P length is 6 inches or greater. 80. 5 inches is seen as an uphill struggle, Again, this is the danger zone. 81. Anything below 5 puts you in a very difficult situation.
Look, I always said 5.5 will get you in the game. Anything less is a goddamn shame.
82. Women of all ethnicities have a preference of dating ethnically white men. However, 83. Chads are their own separate class. 84. Women will never tell men the truth about just how important looks are. 85.
You can say the same thing for men, though. A lot of men will cap about like how they feel, how much they value looks. A lot of dudes, especially when there's other women around, because of course they want to impress the girl. Like, man, I don't really care about look. Well, when it's just guys talking and they go on their Instagram and they're like, man, look at this girl. Like, we can tell you care about looks. But I think a lot of people do that to try to make themselves seem, more, I don't know. I don't know what's the word for it, but you know what I mean? They try to, make themselves like they're like, oh, I care so much about personality, but everybody cares about looks to a certain degree,
The main reason for this is to avoid causing upset. 86. Instead, women will tell men personality matters the most in order to keep those guys in the friend zone and or keep receiving attention and validation from them. 87. Women only date up in terms of value. There is no dating down out of sympathy because she feels bad for the guy who can't find anyone else. 88. And if there are no men available for her to date up in value, she would rather share a Chad than have a beta all to herself.
Ooh.
89. The only exception to this is where a woman will deliberately date down with a guy in order to seize control of the relationship.
So that part about control, we see that a lot with these like boss chicks or these independent women. These women who like, they got really great jobs, they got a whole lot of money, and so they're used to telling people what to do, or having that upper class mentality. And so in order to maintain that, they will date down so they can keep their control. And sometimes they have no choice, because they want to date up or date across, but men who are also like boss type dudes, they don't want to deal with someone who's headstrong. You know what I mean? They want someone who's submissive. So a lot of times you see like those women have no choice but to date down, and then they're cool with it because they're just so used to having control, because that's just how they lived their life. That's how they became a boss, by being headstrong and telling people what to do. So this is a good example of that.
Relationship. 90. This will often lead to things such as the woman will decide if and when intimacy happens, or 91. The man needs to compensate for his lack of looks by contributing disproportionately more financially towards the relationship. 92. Polygamy is becoming an ever more present reality for the future of the dating market. 93.
Yeah, the reason for that is because the majority of the women want the same type of guy. So in order for this to work, if they truly don't want to settle or date down or date someone on their level, then they're gonna have to share that guy, because that guy is in such high demand, and there's so few of those type of men that you're gonna have to share them. So you might as well just accept the whole idea of polygamy to a degree. Or you can just find a guy who's really nice. He doesn't have to be tall, making a whole bunch of money, and got muscles all over his body. Like, you don't have to do that.
It is impossible for any woman, irrespective of her attractiveness, to not be able to get intimacy within the very next 24 hours. 94. Dating is like supermarket shopping for women, but like trying to find life in outer space for men. 95. Modern women will spend their teens and 20s rejecting men who don't meet their crazy standards. 96. Then, in their 30s, those same women will plead, where are all the good men gone? 97. Modern women will friendzone unattractive guys in their 20s who have provider potential. Therefore,
So I talk about this a lot. Is women, when you're in your 20s, those are your prime years, and like a lot of women, they just want to have fun, or they going through their whole phase. Like, you're wasting your prime years. In your 20s, that's when you should be trying to find a husband. That is your best time to try to find a husband. Like, a lot of women want to focus on their career and do all this other stuff, and then by the time they're in a place where they want to be at, they're in their 30s, and so now you're in the decline. Your market value will never, like, is at its highest when you're in your 20s. You know what I mean? Because peak fertility, you're probably at a great shape as far as weight. Your metabolism's still going. You still got your youthful looks. So your 20s is a time where you should be searching for a husband. And a lot of mistakes that women make is that, when you're coming up, you also got to find a guy who's also coming up. Like, I feel like a lot of women have a struggle with dating a guy with potential. But when you're in your 20s, a lot of people have potential. So that's the time when you have to see the potential in someone, grab onto them, and y'all grow together, versus trying to find a man who's already established. That guy, you know what I mean? All the women are chasing him. You got to find a guy who's upcoming. You know what I mean? So that'll work perfectly.
keeping him in orbit. 98. Then, in her 30s, she may try to settle down with the exact same guy so he can provide resources for her. 99. The media encourages men to provide resources and simp over women. For example, just look at Valentine's Day. It's all about the man proving himself and buying gifts for the woman. Guys, believe me, I've worked in restaurants over Valentine's, and I'd say 80% of the time, the man has to pay the bill in full.
It should be that
20% the bill is split, 0% the woman will be the one to pay.
I don't like the holiday.
Finally, 100. Women see it as an insult if an unattractive man approaches her, as she thinks he is insinuating he is on her level. So that's all 100 of my points of the black pill. Here is a list of all the categories, and I have attached timestamps here so you can re-watch parts of the video if you need to rejig your memory. Anyway, that's the video. Be sure to press the
Hold on, let's look at that. So he says irrelevant factors, money, disagree. Status, also disagree. Once you have status and money, I talked about in the previous video where like women were like saying like Lil Wayne was sexy. Well, they think he's sexy because all the things listed on here: money, status, confidence. So those things matter. I disagree. All those things I completely disagree with. Confidence does matter, but you need accomplishments to go with the confidence for that to like really, come together. Grooming, I talked about that in the past video. Grooming can only help, it will not hurt you, so you might as well do it as you should. Going to the gym, that definitely matters. I mean, you may look, it can only help you. It's not going to hurt you, so you might as well do it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, let's say you're not that attractive in the face, but if a woman just so happens to give you a chance, and then y'all make it to the bedroom, you take off your shirt, she's gonna be like, "Ooh, okay," you know what I mean? And so these are things. This is how you maintain that woman. If you're able to get that woman, with your personality, but then you bring, stuff like grooming, hitting the gym. You got a little bit of money. That's what's going to solidify the deal. He talks about the relevant factors here: face, height, being bald, age, dick length, ethnicity. Obviously, you can't do anything about that, but I feel like if you don't have the ideal face structure, height, age, you know what I mean, you shouldn't use that to discount yourself. You got to use what you got to get ahead, and that's why I agree a lot more with the red pill rhetoric, because it's all about self-improvement, Whereas black pill is more like, look, you don't qualify, just forget about it. You know what I mean? I always believe that there's something you can do to improve your chances. You know, ethnicity, you know, that is something that's real. Like, you know, you know, usually white is going to be the safe bet as far as like what all races think is like an okay attractiveness. But, you know, Asians and black people, for whatever reason, society tends to deem them as unattractive. But, you know, do you really want to date someone who is going to judge you off your ethnicity? No. So it doesn't matter. Those people are irrelevant to you anyway. So it really doesn't matter. So, you know, it was an interesting video. I never actually went in and saw everything that the black pill, you know, people how they think. But this is why I don't get down with him. But it was a fun video. You can check out. He does make some good points though, man. The guy is Weak Waffles, man. I'll put a link in the description below so you can watch some of his other content. If you agree, hit the like button. Subscribe to his channel. If you like my stuff, subscribe and hit the like button. You know, let me know what you thought of the video. What points did you agree with? What points did you disagree with? Leave your comments below and let me know what you thought. And if you got anything out this video, hit that like button. This is Agree to Disagree. I'm out.